Welcome to PBM's Video Entertainment, and welcome back to another episode of Thomas & Friends Import Reviews. In this video, we're going to be talking about My First Thomas with Thomas. So, without further ado, let's jump into the history of My First Thomas with Thomas. So, My First Thomas with Thomas was originally released in Japan back in December 17th of 2008 by Sony Creative Products Incorporated. Then on September 3rd of 2009, it was finally released over in Australia, distributed by ABC for Kids. And My First Thomas with Thomas could also be found in multi-packs as well, such as the My First Thomas 3-disc set. And it can also be found in the My First Thomas 5-disc set. And now we got the history part out of the way, let's jump into my copy of My First Thomas with Thomas. Alright, we will now jump into my copy of My First Thomas with Thomas. And of course, I have it in the 5-disc combo pack. And of course, I'm glad I decided to get this because in the 3-disc set, it had My First Thomas with Thomas, James, and Percy. This one, it has Thomas, James, Percy, Diesel, and Sir Topham Hatt, aka the Fat Controller. Anyways, take a look at the front post art of this. This is a 5-disc set. And on top, we have My First Thomas title card, Thomas Friends logo, and here we have a promo shot of Thomas. This one's probably, I want to say, season 11? I want to say. If I'm wrong, then it might be 10, but it's probably season 11. Maybe. If I had to take a guess. Anyways, 40 adventures about your favorite Sodor engines / characters, because one of them's not an engine. Anyways, the Australian rating, just like with all the other Thomas DVDs, it's rated G, 5-disc set, distributed by ABC for Kids, spine, and then the back. And of course, here's what it all includes. And of course, we're talking about My First Thomas with Thomas, obviously. And here's the blurb. And just a reminder, all of the Thomas Australian DVDs, they're all region 4. And here we have the My First Thomas disc. And I gotta say, the inside artwork looks pretty awesome. Yeah. But yeah, here's what it looks like. Basically, squished out version of if you were to get My First Thomas with Thomas solo, like the Australian copy. Like, if you were to buy it solo, then yeah. Well, you basically get it. This is basically squished out version of the single case of the My First Thomas with Thomas DVD case. And now, let's jump into the menu tour for My First Thomas with Thomas. Alright, so we have now jumped into the menu tour for My First Thomas with Thomas. So, our options are play all or episode selection. There are no bonus features whatsoever, unfortunately. So, let's just go to episode selection, like we always do. So, our episodes are Thomas and Gordon, Thomas's Train, Thomas and the Guard, Thomas Goes Fishing, Thomas, Terrence, and the Snow, Thomas and Birdie, Birdie's Chase, for some reason we have that, and Thomas Comes to Breakfast. And all of these episodes are narrated by Ringo Starr. There are no Michelangelo's dub episodes. And that's it for the menu tour for My First Thomas with Thomas. Now let's jump into my review and thoughts on My First Thomas with Thomas. So overall, do I recommend My First Thomas with Thomas? Well, just in case some of you don't know what My First Thomas DVDs are, they're basically like the, like, you know how in the United States we got 4 Thomas best ofs from 2001 through 2003? Like, in the United States, all we got is Best of Thomas, James, Percy, and Gordon, which basically, the Thomas best ofs, basically, like, each DVD has, like, for example, Best of Thomas, it has episodes, it has, like, all episodes that are about Thomas, and then Best of James, you have, like, all episodes that are about James, and so on, and so forth. Anyways, anywho, so that's what the My First Thomas DVDs basically are. They're just like these, but of course, they have, basically, the Australian releases of My First Thomas, they have British narrators like Ringo Starr and Michelangelos. While over in Japan, they got Leo Morimoto. But I think, if I recall correctly, I looked up last night for the Japanese versions of the My First Thomas DVDs. You could watch it in 2 different dubs. You could watch it in Japanese dub with Leo Morimoto, or English dub with Ringo Starr and Michelangelos. So, so that way, like, you don't have to, like, buy, that way you don't have to, like, buy 2 different, both versions of the My First Thomas DVDs. Like you don't have to get, like, both the Australian version and the Japanese version of My First Thomas with Thomas. Like, basically, I mean, of course, if you enjoy the Japanese dub episodes of Thomas, just like I do, then you might as well go for the Japanese copies. So that way you'll have 2 options. Like, if you want to watch it in Japan, then that's great. But of course, if you want to watch it in English, then that's also great. Anyways, back to the question. So overall, do I recommend My First Thomas with Thomas? Well, it's probably going to be the same. I'm probably going to give out the same answer, just like how I did with the Thomas Best Dubs on Thomas & Friends DVD reviews and Thomas VHS reviews and stuff like that. So basically, for My First Thomas with Thomas, if Thomas is your favorite character, or one of your favorite characters, then feel free to pick up this one. And if Ringo Starr is like your favorite narrator, or one of your favorite narrators, like if he's somewhere in your top 3 or something like that, then feel free to pick up this one. But of course, if Thomas is not your favorite character, then you don't have to buy this. And, or of course, if Ringo Starr is like not your favorite narrator, or not one of your favorite narrators, then you might as well go for this one. And like I said, for My First Thomas with Thomas, there is no Michelangelos dub episodes on there. None whatsoever. It's only Ringo Starr. Anyways, that about wraps up this video, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.